Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Thank you, Aarti Mataji, Pavan Prabhuji, Anandini Gopika Mataji for leading the chanting this morning. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminati Namane Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pacharine
Krishna Hare
Nirvishesha
Krishna Krishna
Shunyavadi
Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram
Ashtatati
Ram Ram Hare Hare
Shadagi
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram.
Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktaranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, anybody would like to sing our prayer today? Vibhavari Shesha Vaishnava Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, I can try and sing.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Vibhavari Shesha Loka Pravisha Netrachari Utho Jiva Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva Narsimha Vamana Shri Madhusudana Brajendra Nandana Shyama Utana Ghatana Kaitabasatana Jaya Dasharati Rama Yashoda Dulala Govinda Gopala Vrindavana Purandara Gopi Priya Jana Radhika Ramana Bhuvana Sundara Bara Ravana Takara Makana Taskara Gopi Jana Vasrahari Vrajera Rakhala Gopa Vrinda Pala Chittahari Bamsidhari Yogendra Bandana Shri Nandanandana Brajajana Bhayahari Navina Nirada Rupa Manohara Mohana Bamshi Bihari Yashodanandana Kansani Shudana Nikunjara Vilasi Kadamba Kanana Rasa Parayana Vrinda Vipina Nivasi Ananda Vardhana Premaniketana Ulashara Jojakama Gopangana Gana Chitta Vinodana Samasta Guna Gana Dhama Jamuna Jivana Keli Parayana Manasa Chandra Chakora Nama Shudha Rasa Gao Krishna Jasa Rakho Vachana Manamora Vibhavari Shesha Aloka Pravesha Nidrachari Utho Jiva Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Gopika Mataji. Wonderful. Shri Ram Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Shri Nam Kirtan ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, we will read the translations of this beautiful prayer. Anybody would like to read? Okay, I can read them. Somebody. Translation. The night has come to an end, and the light of dawn is entering. O Jiva soul, arise and give up your sleep. Chant the holy names of Lord Hari, who is the giver of liberation, the enemy of the Mura demon, the supreme enjoyer, the all-attractive one, and the horse-headed incarnation Hayagriva. Lord Hari, Krishna, incarnated as the half-man, half-lion Narsimha. He appeared as a dwarf Brahmana named Upendra and is the killer of the Madhu demon. He is the beloved son of the king of Raja, Nanda Maharaj, and is blackish in complexion. He is the slayer of the Putana witch and the destroyer of the demon Kaitava. All glories to Lord Hari, who appeared as Lord Rama, the son of King Dashratha. He is the darling of Mother Yashoda, the giver of pleasure to the cows, land, and spiritual senses, and the protector of the cows. He is the lord of the Vrindavan forest, the gopis' beloved, the lover of Radhika, and the most beautiful personality in all the worlds. As Ramachandra, he brought about the end of the demoniac king Ravana. As Krishna, he stole the older gopis' butter. He stole the younger gopis' clothes while they were bathing in the Yamuna. He is the cowherd boy of Braja and the protector of the cowherd boys. He steals the hearts of all and always holds a flute. Lord Krishna is worshipped by the best of yogis and is the son of Nanda. He removes all the fears of the inhabitants of Braja. He is the color of a fresh rain cloud, and his form is enchanting. When he wanders about playing his flute, he looks very charming. He is the son of Yashoda and the killer of King Kamsa, and he sports in the rasa dance among the groves of Braja. Krishna engages in this rasa dance underneath the Kadamba trees, and he resides in the forest of Vrindavan. He increases the ecstasy of his devotees. He is the reservoir of all love and is the transcendental Cupid who uses his flowered arrows to increase the loving desires of the gopis. He is the pleasure of the gopis' hearts and the abode of all wonderful qualities. Lord Krishna is the life of the river Yamuna. He is always absorbed in amorous pastimes, and he is the moon of the gopis' minds, which are like the chakora birds that subsist only upon moonlight. O mind, obey these words of mine, and sing the glories of Sri Krishna in the form of these holy names, which are full of nectarian mellows. Hare Krishna. Okay, so many wonderful things, qualities of the Lord, and reminds us, like Prabhupada was yesterday in Leelamritam, where he was being driven, and there was rain, heavy rain. Prabhupada says rain is the most wonderful thing. So like that he's the color of a fresh rain cloud. Right? It says Prabhupada loves rain. He doesn't love he doesn't love snow. Snow, he's saying, is hellish, saint hellish, but that he was admiring, or he was appreciating rainfall. And yes, he's the son of Yashoda, Yashomati Nandana. So I was just thinking, yeah, Japan, Prabhupada is now in Japan. Like we said in the past, Japan, also in Hindi, if we say, it becomes like Japan, right? So when we are doing this Japan, or Japa, every morning Japa, it is very, very most sublime thing in the world, taking the holy names of the Lord, just like this prayer is talking about. Just sing the holy names of the Lord, oh my mind. That is the only instruction that Bhaktivinoda Thakur has. So when you do japa, so that's why Japan. Actually, Prabhupada, if you remember, Prabhupada first had the invitation to go to Japan, or he wanted to go for that spiritual conference, but then he decided to go, instead of going east, he decided to go west, right? And then, rest is history. He came to US. But so yeah, so now he's in Japan, and in Tokyo. Tokyo also is like, you can say, to Krishna, Yashomati Nandan's oasis, right? So like in this desert that we are in, material world, Krishna's spiritual abode is like the oasis, and then Krishna's abode is not different from Krishna, and it's not different from Krishna's holy name in this day and age. So just by doing this japan, we are always, Krishna is dancing on our lips, or dancing on our tongue. And like we were saying the other day about Ramayana, just by putting the name, or just by writing the name Ram on the stones, on the rocks and big mountains, they were floating on the ocean. So imagine what would happen if we just write the name, holy name, on our tongue. If the rocks can swim, and the rocks can sustain without, and just float without drowning in the ocean, then imagine, if we write the holy names on our tongue every single day, every morning, what would be the fate of our tongue, of our existence? We will easily be able to cross over this ocean of material existence. So Yeah, Prabhupada is very nicely teaching again. This is the last chapter. It is very bittersweet. We are almost in the last phase, which are Prabhupada. But like he said yesterday, the only constant for him is traveling. So like he has been with us traveling this whole last 1 year, holding our hands and walking with us. And now, like he was saying yesterday, he wherever he wants to go, he will go, and he will be fully engaged in service. Like he said, for a devotee, it's like a reaping machine. Doesn't matter the reaping machine; they will only always be reaping Krishna consciousness, whether they're in heaven or in hell. So Prabhupada wants to travel so that he can strengthen his disciples all over the world in their execution of Krishna consciousness, so that they can become strong and they can continue this movement forward when he is not around. Right. So that was his mood yesterday, and that is what he's teaching all of us also. That he's physically not going to be here, but he's always there with us through his instructions. We just have to follow his instructions, and then his blessings will always be there with us. Okay, so let's continue the passage in Tokyo. The Prabhupada was telling them that yes, we have to give this education of the absolute truth, and only by Krishna consciousness will be able to get out of the Maya's activities. That is the only way out. Prabhupada gave 2 lectures in Japan. In his second talk, he argued that because there is design in nature, there must be a designer. His logic and his examples were precise and vigorous. He referred to local governmental organization within a city and how it is controlled by persons. Similarly, when I see that the cosmic order is working so nicely and systematically and reasonably, how can I say there is no controller? How can you say logic? Tell me anyone. Can you say anyone? How can you say there is no controller? Jagat Ahur Anishwaram. What is their logic? You tell me. Prabhupada wanted a challenge from his audience, so he pointed to his secretary. You are sometimes on their side. What is their logic? Paramahamsa. Well, no controller is ever seen. Prabhupada. But you have not seen who is the Japanese government's president. How can you conclude there is no government? You have not seen the president or the supreme head. But how can you say there is no government? Otherwise, how is it going on so nicely? You may not see so many things, but that does not mean anything. That is not good logic that I have not seen. Someone in the audience put forward the theory of chance, and Prabhupada responded with great enthusiasm to defeat the nonsense theory. Krishna is not alone, Prabhupada said. Krishna means that he has got many energies, just like a tiny person like me, Bhaktivedanta Swami. I have this movement, and I am not alone. I have got so many assistants all over the world. I was the originator, I was the founder, so I am not alone. Similarly, as I have expanded with my disciples in so many ways, in so many places, I can expand. I am a common man. But how can Krishna expand? We can just imagine. He is the Supreme Lord. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam. He can expand himself, but he is the only person. He is doing everything. Just like I am replying to dozens of letters from all over the world and trying to manage. Similarly, he is also maintaining alone, Anantarupam, by unlimited assistance. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate. You have to understand like that. Among the dozens of letters and the worldwide managerial problems Prabhupada referred to, a particularly disturbing bit of news arrived during his 2-day visit in Japan. The police in Germany had raided the ISKCON temple in Frankfurt and confiscated money from the bank accounts. They had trumped up charges of solicitation fraud, and a mass propaganda war was mounting against Krishna consciousness through inimical German media. When Prabhupada received a distress letter from his leader in Germany, Hamsaduta, he asked that Hamsaduta come and meet him in Hawaii. Now, while in Japan, Prabhupada received a telegram from Bhagavan Das, the GBC for Southern Europe, who would temporarily manage affairs in Germany. Prabhupada replied, try to manage Germany, London, and Paris. The main business in Germany is to reply to the charges and rescue the frozen money. In England, we have to revive the Rath Yatra festival, which has now stopped by the police intrigue. In Paris, you require a larger place to accommodate devotees, so find out a suitable place. In this way, even while traveling rapidly, staying only a day or two in faraway places, Prabhupada received and replied to messages regarding the urgent affairs of his worldwide movement. These affairs were always on Srila Prabhupada's mind in one way or another. He alone was the ultimate judge of the affairs of ISKCON, and he knew best ISKCON's inner workings. As he had said in his class, He was assisted by many expansions, and yet he was still the single supreme person in ISKCON. In this case, supreme not only meant the most exalted and worshipable personality, but the person who had to take the most anxiety and whose deliberations were the most demanding. This also confirmed the need for Prabhupada's traveling. By traveling and inspiring the leaders in each city and country, he could avoid disasters and irregularities and keep his armies strong on all fronts against the invasions of Maya, which were liable to occur and which were occurring from day to day. Hawaii, January 29 to February 9. Shrutakirti. On the Pan Am Airlines from Tokyo to Hawaii, Prabhupada was reading something about women's liberation. He said, if these women want to be liberated, then tell them to shave their heads like us, and they can be liberated. Prabhupada asked Nitai Das to call one of the stewardesses over and tell her, if you want to be like a man, then shave your head. Go ahead, Prabhupada nudged Nitai. Cut a joke. Call her over there. Call her over here. Tell her. Nitai hesitated, but Prabhupada seemed serious. Tell her to shave her head. Then she can be a man if she wants to be liberated. Although Prabhupada repeatedly asked that he call the stewardess and make the joke, Nitai wouldn't do it. So Prabhupada finally let it go. It wasn't the first time Srila Prabhupada was faced with a controversy when he arrived in Hawaii. Hawaii was such a place where groups of devotees gathered who did not want to follow strictly the rules and regulations and who supported their deviancy from the ISKCON norm with their own philosophies. One such devotee, after breaking away from ISKCON, had gathered his own followers and preached to them and to newcomers that it was best not to live in the temple. He did not advocate that one follow the rules and regulations strictly, nor did he conduct any organized preaching activity, only casual chanting of Hare Krishna. Prabhupada tolerated this leader and his splinter group, even though it was his own ISKCON they were criticizing. He wanted to encourage anyone who was chanting Hare Krishna or desiring to be his follower. If they chanted Hare Krishna, he said, they would gradually be purified. Those living outside the temple and following the principles loosely said that Prabhupada approved of their activities and of their leader, while those devotees living faithfully in ISKCON criticized the divergent group. Arguments went back and forth, and Srila Prabhupada's arrival became an occasion for direct confrontation. That Prabhupada was traveling to all his ISKCON centers, including the ISKCON in Hawaii, and not to the other group's headquarters, was in itself conclusive. When there were threats to his one and only temple when ISKCON was located at 26 2nd Avenue, New York City, he had been like a worried father. But now Prabhupada's transcendental worries had expanded as his family spread out into 100 centers in countries all over the world. After Prabhupada arrived in Hawaii, some of the persons involved in the controversy brought their philosophical issues before him. He once again clarified his position and the position of his true followers. While walking one morning with devotees on Waikiki Beach, Prabhupada answered their questions about the nature of pure devotional service. Devotee: I have heard there is a philosophy here among some of the devotees that if you chant Hare Krishna, you can go back to the spiritual world, even if you do not give up your independence. Prabhupada: so what is your philosophy? Well, it seems that's somewhat hypocritical, because chanting Hare Krishna means that you are praying to Krishna to please be engaged eternally in his service and to become completely dependent on him. So we try to explain like that. We try to follow all the teachings and instructions, attend Mangala Arati and morning and evening class. Prabhupada: so they are doing that or not? Devotee: no, they are not even following regulative principles. Prabhupada: then? Devotee: they think that just by chanting they will go back to the spiritual world. That is enough. Prabhupada: then what is the meaning of the 10 kinds of offenses? If he is chanting without offense, then it is all right. But if he is committing offenses, then it will not be effective. There are 10 kinds of offenses. Whether he is strictly offenseless, then he is all right. If he is offender, then it will not be fruitful. Or it will be fruitful, but it will take a long time. Because first of all, you must become offenseless. So if they are committing offenses, how can they be perfect? He is committing the offense of not following the rules and regulations. That means he is thinking that whatever I can do will be adjusted by chanting the name. Is it not? Devotee: yes, that's one of the offenses. Prabhupada: that is called the greatest offense. Namno balad yasyahi papa buddhihi. I can go on committing sinful activity, but by chanting Hare Krishna mantra it will be adjusted. That is the greatest offense. So explain it to them. The devotees then asked if such chanting without following the regulative principles strictly was just a waste of time. It was not a useless thing, Prabhupada replied, but it was a very slow process. He compared it to kindling a fire and at the same time pouring water on it. Another devotee protested that all devotees living outside the temple weren't breaking the regulative principles. He knew many who were following Prabhupada. Prabhupada replied, "It doesn't matter that you have to live in the temple, nor that not that everyone has to live in the temple. If he does not agree with his other god brothers, friends, he can live separately. But he must follow the rules and regulations. That is wanted. But if you live with the devotees, it will automatically be done." Devotee, yes, then it is easy. Prabhupada, therefore it is recommended that you live with devotees. But if you cannot agree with the devotees, you have got your own opinion, then you still can't make a new opinion as far as following the process is concerned. It is not a good idea to say, whatever I do, that is my independence, and I will chant. Prabhupada admitted that even if one was living in the temple, but his mind was not absorbed in Krishna consciousness, then he also could not advance quickly. But the great advantage of living in the temple could not be denied. Prabhupada. It is just like even in ordinary business. If you transact business in the stock association, you get good business. And outside the stock association, you don't get good because the association is there. There are many purchasers and many sellers. So if you have to sell, you get an immediate purchaser. And if you have to purchase, there is an immediate seller. Therefore, the stock exchange is there. So if we live together in the stock exchange of devotional service, then you can help me and I can help you. So our business will go on nicely. And outside the market, you can live 300 miles away from the stock exchange, but you will not get so many business opportunities. Devotee, you will miss the opportunities. Prabhupada, yes. Therefore, if you want to do business, you must take the first opportunity, the greatest opportunity. That is intelligence. And if we think, all right, I shall do it slowly, and in 700 lifetimes I shall become perfect, that is another thing. Devotee, it is riskier to stay outside. Prabhupada, oh yes. Otherwise, why are you opening so many centers and making arrangements that we shall provide you with shelter, with food? These are the facilities. You live here. Do whatever is your capacity in the temple. Don't sleep, but work. That is our teaching. Satam prasangat. And Rupa Goswami also says, Sato vritte sadhu sangat bhakti prasidhyati. If you live with the association of the devotees, then it will be quickly fruitful. And if you live with these ordinary men, then whatever you got will be finished very soon. In another verse, it is said that it is preferred to live within a cage surrounded by fire than to live with the non-devotee. The essential thing was to follow the order of the spiritual master, Prabhupada stated, whether in or out of the temple. He recalled that he also did not live within the temple, but still he always strictly followed his spiritual master's orders. Wherever you live, Prabhupada said, if you follow strictly the instruction of the Guru, then you remain perfect. But if we create concocted ideas against the instruction of the Guru, then we go to hell. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado, yasya prasadan nagatihi kutopi. There is no more shelter. Finished. If the Guru thinks this person, I wanted to take him back to home, back to Godhead, but now he is going against me, he is not following aprasada. Then, when he is displeased, everything is finished. One of the devotees asked further how one can serve the spiritual master while working at an outside job. So, I have some outside job. I am living outside, but I am not giving 50% of my income. So then that job I am doing, is it actually under the authority of the Guru? Prabhupada, then you are not following the instruction of Guru. That is plain fact. Devotee. So that means the whole activity during the day, working, that means that I am not following the instruction of the Guru. It's unauthorized activity. Prabhupada, yes, if you don't follow the instruction of the Guru, then you have fallen down immediately. Another confrontation took place in Srila Prabhupada's room with devotees who insisted they could faithfully obey Srila Prabhupada but could not follow his GBC representative or his ISKCON. One dissenter had devised an intricate philosophy that Srila Prabhupada was all-knowing and expert spiritually, but not materially. Prabhupada can't build a jet engine, he said. He can't build a nuclear reactor. Therefore, he is not expert materially, but he is expert spiritually. Most of the devotees rejected this concoction. According to Shastra, the pure devotee, unlike the yogi, completely depends on Krishna for his ability. The yogi tries to develop powers to do wonderful things, like walking on water or becoming invisible. But a devotee's powers come through his surrender to Krishna, who creates his devotee's expertise. According to this new theory, since Srila Prabhupada had to depend on his own men, his disciples, to know what was going on in ISKCON, he was unaware of how badly the GBC were mismanaging, of how they were misconducting the book distribution, and of how they were mistreating the devotees. Prabhupada was not aware because these activities were occurring on the material platform. In this way, they reached the conclusion of faith and trust in Prabhupada, but refused to work within his society with his representatives. The devotees in Prabhupada's room had formerly been leaders of ISKCON Hawaii, but had left and were now threatening to use the funds and properties in their own name. Prabhupada kept asking them simply, "Why did you leave? Why don't you stay? Why don't you surrender?" But they insisted that while they trusted Prabhupada, they could not trust the GBC. One of the GBC members in the room became exasperated with the refusal to accept Prabhupada's simple request of surrender. "You say that you accept Prabhupada." "Yes," they replied. "And you say you have faith in him." "Yes." "You say that whatever he asks, you can follow." "Yes." "So then, if Prabhupada asks you to follow the GBC, will you do it?" The room became tense and silent. "No, we cannot follow." When they uttered that no, Srila Prabhupada dropped his fist on his table and pointed to the deviant devotees, declaring, "Just see the hypocrisy." Even after Prabhupada's stark conclusion, they maintained their "we surrender to you but not to ISKCON" philosophy until Prabhupada asked them to leave. To the other devotees remaining in the room, Prabhupada remarked, "When they say they don't like ISKCON and the GBC, they are really saying they don't like to follow my order. That means they don't like my order. That means they don't have faith in my order. That means they don't have faith in me. That means Guru Aparadh. To say they have faith in me is just hypocrisy." Shrutakirti. Finally, Prabhupada was ready to leave. Just before he was ready to go, he said he wanted to see me. He said, "Shrutakirti, so now you are going to stay here? Your wife is here and child?" I said, "Yes, Prabhupada." He said, "Yes, to stay here as a householder and manage the temple. But all along I was thinking I really should go with Prabhupada. He had no one with him. He had no servant or anything. But I said, 'Yes, Prabhupada, I think I should stay.' And he replied, 'So that is good. Yes, you stay here with your wife.' But one of the sannyasis in the room started laughing and said, 'Yes, you know what they call the wife and child? They are known as the tigress and jackal.' Then the sannyasi asked Srila Prabhupada, 'Prabhupada, I know why the woman is called the tigress, but why are the children considered jackals?' Prabhupada replied, 'Well, the children in so many ways, they create so many inconveniences for the father. They are always requiring things and sometimes disturbing him, and he cannot sleep. In this way, it is like eating the flesh of the father. This is the business of jackals, eating flesh. So the children are like jackals. They're always putting the father in so much disturbance and difficulty.' So I was sitting there thinking, gee, here I am, and Prabhupada is telling me to stay with the tiger and jackal. So then I said, 'Prabhupada, I think I should come with you.' And Prabhupada simply said, 'All right.'" Okay, Hari Bol. Okay, we'll pause here. Yeah. So again, you see how many different things pop up. Small branches grow from small or from a big trunk like that, or small twigs. Everybody is having their own philosophy, but again, you have to chant and chant offenselessly. That is the main message Prabhupada is teaching. Of course, association is the best. Living in the temple, or at least in our case as Grihastha ashram, we are at least going to the center, going to the temple once a week. That is very, very important. Staying in the association of pure devotees, and chanting name in Shuddha Sattva, in pure goodness, without committing offenses, the 10 offenses. Then we will become purified quickly. Otherwise, it may take multitudes of lifetimes. Like Prabhupada says, it's like kindling a fire and then pouring water on it. So when we have to, it's like when we are cooking also. You cannot cook on high flame, then you put again to the least flame or turn off the burner. And then after 10 minutes, again you cook, and again after 5 minutes, you turn off, again you cook, you turn on the burner, again you cook, and you switch off the burner, right? So that way, it is just going to take us too long to cook our dish. So similarly, we cannot commit offenses when we are chanting the holy names. Otherwise, chanting the holy name alone is sufficient to take us back home, back to God, as long as it is being chanted offenselessly. The analogy is given like, when, like for example, we are blindfolded and we are put into a room, and the room has only one door, and we are blindfolded, and we are like, when you're blindfolded, you will touch the walls in the room, and slowly you'll walk, and you'll go, you'll move your hand from on the wall, toward the left or to the right, whichever direction you're going. If you're going left, you'll keep moving left slowly, and your goal is to reach the door so that you can get out of the room. right? And but once you reach the room, let's say you're going from one wall to second wall to third wall and fourth wall, and finally you come to the door, and when you come to the door, and now your door is in your hands. Now you're just about to open the door, and something disturbing happens, or some, like maybe there are other persons, people in the room, and they disturb you, and or you're distracted. And what happens again? With that distraction, you turn around and you go inside the room, and then you forget where you were, and now again you have to go and find the door, the exit, right? So like that, we are also in this human form of body, or sometimes in other species. You've been going round and round and round and round in this material world, and we have got this human form of life. We have got the association of pure devotees, Srila Prabhupada. We have come to the movement. We have got the devotional processes, chanting the holy names and serving the Vaishnavas, hearing Bhagavatam, all the ninefold devotional service practice. But if we get distracted, we lose the um, the touch of the door to get out of this material life. Like Prabhupada was saying again, to get out of Maya, this is the only solution, the only door. There's only one door. We miss the door, we get distracted, we again have to come back into the world. Again, you have to go around the room trying to find out where the exit is. And again, we come to the door, and again, we get distracted by something, by lust, anger, greed. There are so many vices. And yeah, like here, this analogy Prabhupada is giving of the tigress and jackals. And yeah, there's so many disturbances, so many problems in this world, and we get distracted, and then we lose our opportunity. Of course, nothing goes to waste. Whatever sadhana we have done, everything is there in our spiritual bank balance. But the idea is to achieve perfection, and it can be done in this lifetime itself. As Prabhupada says many times, it just takes 1 minute to surrender. Just the whole process is to surrender to Krishna. Because when you surrender to Krishna, last night also when we were reading our evening reading, the same theme was there. Prabhupada was talking about how he's like, of course he was educated, he was a pharmacist by trade, and he had his own pharmaceutical business, but still he doesn't know anything, he doesn't know everything on the material platform, right? Like these people are saying here, right? But Prabhupada, just by pure devotee, because they're surrendered to the Lord, and the Lord seated in the heart as Paramatma guides with the torchlight of knowledge, so. And the pure devotees, they speak, they can solve problems of the whole world, actually. They have solution for all the problems of the world, even though they may not be educated as the so-called scientists, the so-called, philosophers. They may not have material knowledge, but because their knowledge is perfect, because they've surrendered to the Lord seated inside the heart guides them. See, so many, even today, like we were saying, in today's world, we have so many acharyas, so many pure devotees of the Lord. They're not even school pass outs, right? But they are able, when they speak, the whole world just stops and listens, right? So that is the power of the connection with the Lord. Okay, anybody else would like to say or share anything from today's reading? In Japan, Tokyo to Hawaii. Amresh Prabhu, good to see you. Like to say anything, Amresh Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
I'm just listening. That's Hare Krishna.
Okay, very well. Only we can hear you sing the bhajan this week.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Anybody else would like to say anything? Meenu Mataji, missed you yesterday.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you for this wonderful class. I will pass this morning. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. May you pass out of the clutches of Maya back to God.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I do have a personal incident to share,
Yeah.
if I may.
Please.
You know how in Sundarkand, Jamwant reminded Hanuman of his powers. I went through a similar situation this weekend, and when I was sitting there, I was like, oh my God, somebody had faith in me, then I was able to pull it off. A Herculean task for a woman, to go and buy a car by herself. So my car broke down on Thursday and I'm freaking out. I'm calling my friends like, okay, guys, you need to come with me, otherwise I'm going to be ripped off and this and that, and going through that. And then one of my friends, my best friend, she said, you know, you can do this. It's like, you think? She said, yes, you know you can do this. It's like, okay, you know, it just takes one person to have faith in you. It just took Srila Prabhupada to have faith in his disciples, and the disciples flourished. And I literally pulled off the deal. I made the whole deal by myself. And everyone I shared that this is the deal I got, they were amazed and so happy that this was really a good deal. So we all have Jamwans in our lives. You know, Srila Prabhupada is actually, through his writing, is a Jamban for us, telling us, you can do this. This is possible. You know your powers. It's just we fail to look at them at this way. So this was huge. This weekend was a huge realization for me. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for sharing such a nice, inspiring realization. Yes, yeah, we all have that power of the Supreme in us. He is actually seated with us. You know, he's so caring. Like we gave that example of the two birds. You know, like the Paramatma is seated as the other bird, and we are enjoying the fruits of this material world as a bird. But even when we, when we leave this body, we fly to another body like a bird. You know, he flies with us. He's always there. He's always there, observing, and not just observing, but like you said, he is there to inspire us, to show us that, you know, what power we have. We just have to open our ears and listen, and that is what we do. We're trying to open our ears when we are doing this attentive chanting, because our ears otherwise are blocked with so many other distractions and noises, right? So we have to, right now we are crowded with the noise of the world, and we have forgotten our own inner voice. So we have to subdue the noise and we have to awaken the voice, and that can be done when we practice. And so, yeah, like rightly said, you know, then we can have, then we can hear the voice of Jambavan from speaking from within our heart of what we can accomplish. Thank you for that wonderful example. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll pause here. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavinda ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit ki jai. Last chapter ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare
Hari Bol.
Krishna. Hari Bol.
Have a
Hare
great day, everyone. Thank you, Hare Krishna.